Hello, I hope you are all well and safe. So, today I welcome you all to this new chapter of current electricity. Now, current electricity we have already studied the basics of it in class 11th. So, we know what is current. Current is nothing but rate of flow of charges through a cross section of conductor. And when I say rate of flow of charge, it means charge per unit time. Okay, we have also studied about Ohm's law, that is voltage is directly proportional to current and V equals to IR, where R is the resistance of circuit. What is resistance? Resistance is the property of conductor which opposes the flow of current across it. We have studied it, and we have studied about the combinations of resistances, that is series combination and parallel combination. Now in class 12 we will basically study about various kinds of electrical instruments that are used to calculate the values of unknown potential differences and unknown currents inside an electrical circuit. Also we will study about a famous law which is Kirchhoff's law, which we will be using to solve the numericals. Now before we move further, we will have to understand three basic definitions which will be used throughout the lecture series. Okay, so let us understand what are those definitions. The basic definitions here, the first one is junction. You see this figure. Okay, so let me just take the laser. Now you see this figure. In this figure these are 6 wires having current I1, I2, I3, I4, I5 and I6. So these are 6 wires having current I1, I2, I3, I4, I5 and I6, and these arrows denote the direction of current. Okay, so junction is what? Any point in an electric circuit. Now this is an electric circuit, so any point in an electrical circuit where two or more conductors are joined together is a junction. So here you see 6 conductors are joined together at point P. So my point P will be called as junction. Okay, where two or more conductors are joined is called junction. So the important point is it should have 2 or more. So minimum number of conductors to form a junction is 2 and maximum n number of conductors can be joined. So here 6 number of conductors are joined at point P. So point P is our junction. Now you see these are the directions showing. So you see I1 is going towards the junction, I3 is going towards the junction, I5 is going away from the junction, I6 is going away from the junction. So this direction is also important, and we will study the importance of direction in next slide. So moving ahead, the second definition is loop. Now what is a loop? You see again, this is an electrical circuit, a complete electrical circuit where this is first EMF source, that is the battery, this is second EMF source, that is the battery, and this is resistance, you know, first resistance, second resistance, third resistance, fourth resistance, this is again an EMF source. Okay, so in this figure the loop says that any closed conducting path in an electrical network is called a loop or mesh. Now you see this circuit, this is open, no, wires are not joined at the other end. At one end they are joined, at the other end I don't know whether it is joined or not. But if you see this circuit, so it starts from here and it ends at here where it is started. So I can say that this is a closed circuit. Similarly this is a closed circuit, and this overall circuit is also closed. So this is our loop. This is the first loop, this is the second loop, and this big one can be called as the third loop, and loop is also called as mesh. So when you see loop or mesh, it means any closed conducting path in an electrical network. Okay, now you see the third definition, it is branch. A branch is any part of the network that lies between two junctions. Now again, junction we have studied. What is junction? Any point in an electrical network where two or more conductors are joined. So you see in this circuit only, here at point A how many conductors are joined? 1, 2 and 3. 3 conductors are joined at point A. Again at point B, how many conductors are joined? This conductor, and this conductor. Again 3 conductors are joined at point B. So A junction 1 and B junction 2. Now in between two junctions, this is a part of the network. So a branch is any part of the network that lies between two junctions. So I can call this as branch. Okay, so this is what branch looks like. So this is a mesh, this is a mesh, this complete thing is a mesh, and this is a branch. This is a junction 1, this is junction 2. So in this figure you can point out everything like junction, loop and branch. All the three things you can point out in this electrical circuit. Okay, so I hope this is the three basic definitions are clear. Now we will move ahead to a study about the first law of Kirchhoff's, which is called as junction law or current law. Now why it is called as current law or junction law, we will see. Now you again see the same figure. Okay, so here 6 wires are joined together at point P. Now my point P is what? Junction. So you see the direction of currents. I1 is moving towards the junction, I2 is moving away from the junction, I3 is moving towards the junction, I4 is moving towards the junction, I5 is moving away from the junction, I6 is moving away from the junction. So what does the Kirchhoff's first law say? It says that the algebraic sum of the currents at a junction is 0 in an electrical network. The first point to note here is it is saying algebraic sum. Okay, algebraic sum is not normal sum. Algebraic sum means the sum with the sign of it, that is the direction of it, which it is called algebraic sum. So it says that the algebraic sum of the currents at a junction is 0. It means if at this point P I make the summation of all these 6 currents, then it should come out to be 0. This is my Kirchhoff's first law. So it says that summation I at junction J equals to 0, where I is the current. Now it is saying algebraic sum. It means it will have a particular sign. It means that for a particular direction it will be positive, and for another particular direction it will be negative. You remember in optics we used to have the sign convention that light the distance measured in direction opposite to the travel of light is negative, and distance measured in direction of propagation of light is positive from principal axis, from pole. Do you remember that? The same way here also, for the direction of current, consider this junction as pole. Then if the currents are moving away from the junction, it will have a particular sign. If the currents are moving towards the junction, it will have a particular sign. So what is that? We see here, it says that the currents arriving at the junction are considered positive. See, arriving considered positive, and the currents leaving the junction are considered negative. So this is the important thing you have to remember, that the currents arriving at junction will be positive and the currents leaving the junction will be negative. So you see here I1 is arriving the junction, so I1 will be positive. I2 is leaving the junction, so I2 will be negative. I3 is arriving the junction, I3 will be positive. I4 is arriving the junction, I4 will be arriving positive. I5 is leaving the junction, negative. I6 is leaving the junction, so leaving the junction is negative. So can I write like this? So apply the Kirchhoff's first law, that is summation I equals to 0. Now we add all the currents with their sign, that is algebraic sum. So I1 positive plus minus I2 is negative, plus I3 plus I4, again minus I5 because I5 is leaving the junction, minus I6 because I6 is leaving the junction, is equals to 0. Now we take the negative currents on the right hand side. Okay, so it will become I1 plus I3 plus I4 equals to I2 plus I5 plus I6. So you note something here which is important to note is that I1, I3, I4, these are all incoming currents or currents arriving at junction, isn't it? I2, I5, I6, I2, I5, I6, these are all outgoing currents or current leaving the junction. So we can say that the total current flowing towards the junction is equals to the total current flowing away from the junction. It means, what does it mean? It means conservation of charge. Conservation of charge, that is the total current flowing towards the junction is equals to total current flowing away from the junction. And what is current? Current is nothing but rate of flow of charge. So charge is conserved. Okay, so total current flowing towards the junction is equals to total current flowing away from the junction. This was important point to note here. Now we will understand this much better through a numerical. So I am playing a video to show you the numerical and then we will move ahead further. So now you just watch that video. Before we move for second law, we will have to watch the video. Okay, so we will watch the video first. So the video is here for the numerical, so just watch it.
Now here it is given that there are three junctions, you see, B, C and D. Okay, now a current I1 is coming of 17 ampere. At B, I2 of 3 ampere leaves the junction. Can you see it? So I3 will come, and at C a current I4 will join at C. Now from C the current I5 will come, and at I5 it will be divided between I6 and I7. Now we have to calculate I6. What is the value of I6? Using the first law, that is Kirchhoff's first law, junction rule we say. Okay, so let us see how do we do that. So the first thing you do is you have to go junction by junction. So let us see at B, apply the junction rule. At B how many currents are there? I1 coming at B, I2 and I3. Three currents are related with junction B. So you write I1 plus I2 plus I3 equals to 0 according to first law. So now we have to put the values. I1 is 17 and it is coming towards the junction, isn't it? Now we know that current arriving at junction is positive, so we keep it as positive 17. What is I2? I2 is 3 ampere and I2 is leaving the junction, so it will be negative, and we don't know I3, so we will calculate I3 from here, and this implies I3 equals to, so what will be I3? You see I3 is leaving the junction, so I will give a sign minus here. Okay, and when I calculate it, I3 will go that side, and 17 minus 3 equals to 14 ampere. So with the junction rule, you will very simply calculate the current, the one unknown value. Okay, now you move at junction C. At C we know I3, I4, we will calculate I5. So at C how many currents are there? I3 plus I4 plus I5, and it should be equals to 0. Now see, I3 is coming towards the junction, so 14 plus I4 is also coming towards the junction, so plus 2, and I5 is leaving the junction, so minus I5 equals to 0. And from here this implies if I5 will go that side, I5 equals to 14 plus 2, 16 ampere. Clear? Now I know I5, I know I7, I can calculate I6. At D, again junction rule says I5 plus I6 plus I7 equals to 0. At D only 3 currents are there. So I5 is coming towards the junction, so positive 16. I6 is leaving the junction, so plus minus I6, and I7 is also leaving the junction, so plus minus 9 equals to 0. Now this implies 16 minus 9 equals to I6. This implies I6 equals to 7 ampere. This will be our answer.
Okay, so now I hope it was clear how we calculated the value of current through junction law. So now we will move ahead further and study about the second law of Kirchhoff's, that is voltage law, Kirchhoff's voltage law. So you see it says that the algebraic sum of the current the algebraic sum of the potential difference, the algebraic sum of the potential differences, that is product of current and resistance. According to Ohm's law, V equals to IR, we know na. So the algebraic sum of potential difference and the electromotive force, that is EMF, that is the battery connected in the circuit in a closed loop, is 0. Now there are three important things to see here. It is first the algebraic sum, again it is saying, so it will have sign of what? Potential difference of what? Closed loop. We have to select a closed loop, and the electromotive force. So these four things are important to note here. Now we will see what does this mean. The algebraic sum of potential difference and electromotive force in a closed loop is 0. What does it mean? It means summation IR, product of current and resistance. Potential difference is what? Product of current and resistance. So summation IR plus summation sigma. Sigma is what? EMF equals to 0. Again we will since it is saying algebraic sum, so it must have some sign convention, isn't it? So now we will see the sign convention for it. So the sign convention, for sign convention to know, we will have to see the circuit. So this is the same circuit that we studied in the first slide, isn't it? Now we will see how does the sign convention is applied. You see this is the direction of travel in the circuit. We see na, if I have to find the values of resistances or current in this circuit, in this loop. Okay, in this loop if I have to find the values, then I will start traveling from here A, and I can move like A, B, F, G, again back to A. So this will be one direction of movement, or I can move like A, G, F, B, again back to A. So I can move either in clockwise direction or in anti-clockwise direction. Only these two direction I can move. I cannot move like this. Okay, I cannot move like this because I have to complete the circuit. Since I have to complete the circuit, I have to travel on the boundaries from in either clockwise direction or in anti-clockwise direction. Okay, so the sign convention says that while tracing a loop means while moving inside the loop through a resistor, when I come across a resistor, then if we are traveling along the direction of conventional current, the potential difference across that resistance is considered negative. Now you see, what does this mean? I am traveling from A to B to F to G to A, and I am finding summation IR. So if I am traveling from A to B, then I am traveling in the direction of current, because this is the direction of current shown as the arrow. So the potential difference across this resistance R1 will be negative. So I will write minus I1 R1. Okay. Now if you ask me why is it so, sir? Why is it negative? So there is a concept here. You see, if I am traveling from here, if I cross the resistor, so this will be my first position, initial position, and if I cross the resistor, this will be my final position. Okay, so this will be my initial position and this will be my final position. Now you know that when we find the difference, how do we find the difference? We calculate delta. Delta is the difference, no? We know na. So when I find the difference, that is delta V, I will calculate V final minus V initial. So this will be my delta V. Okay, now you see here, this is very important, that the current is flowing in this direction. And current flows in what way? It flows from high potential to low potential. Current flows from high potential to low potential. So my final point is low potential, my initial point is high potential. So when I subtract low potential from high potential, what will be my answer? What will be my final value? It will be negative. If I subtract low potential from high potential, it will be negative, no? Because this will be smaller, this will be larger. So since current travels from high potential to low potential, and we are finding the potential difference across this resistor, the difference is found in what way? From final to initial. So when I do V final minus V initial, we subtract low potential from high potential, and it will come out to be negative. So this is as simple as that. So while tracing a loop through a resistor, if we are traveling along the direction of conventional current, the potential difference across that resistance is considered negative. So you will have to remember this very carefully. Now if the loop is traced against the direction of conventional current, now I am not moving in A, B, F, G, A direction. I am moving in A, G, F, B, A direction. I am moving in anti-clockwise direction. So when I am moving in anti-clockwise direction and I cross this resistor R1, so I will be moving in the direction opposite to direction of current, isn't it? I will be moving in direction opposite to direction of current, and then in that case, this will not be my initial point. This will not be my initial point. What will be my initial point? This will be my initial point, and this will be my final point. If I am moving like this, so this will be my initial point and this will be my final point. And when I calculate delta V, so how is delta V calculated? From final point minus initial point. So I will calculate V final minus V initial, and you see the current is flowing in this direction. Current has not changed this direction. I am changing my direction. So now I am traveling in the direction opposite to direction of current, and current is flowing in the same direction. So it is flowing from high potential to low potential only. So now V final, my final position is at high potential. My initial position was at low potential. So when I subtract high potential from low potential, it will be positive. If the loop is traced against the direction of conventional current, the potential difference, so it is very important to note, against the direction of conventional current, the potential difference across the resistor is considered positive. So you have to remember this. Don't need to understand the concept if you don't want to, but you will have to remember this, that in the direction of current or along the direction of conventional current, the potential difference is considered negative. Against the direction of conventional current, the potential difference across that resistor is considered positive. So these two things you have to remember very carefully. In the direction of current, potential difference across resistor is negative. Against the direction of current, potential difference across that resistor is positive. Why is it so? I have explained here. Okay, now I am erasing this, and I will move to the second sign convention. Okay, so I will move to the second sign convention, so I am erasing it. Now you see what does the second sign convention say. Okay, the second sign convention say the EMF of an electrical source. This is my electrical source 1, this is my electrical source 2, this is my there is no electrical source. So these two are my electrical source. Okay, it says the EMF of an electrical source is positive while tracing the loop within the source from the negative terminal to the positive terminal. So the important thing you have to note here, it is saying that EMF of an electrical source is positive. When it is positive, while tracing the loop within the source from the negative terminal to the positive terminal. So when I go from negative to positive, I will take positive. So you see here now we are moving in the direction shown here. So I will move from like this, and this is the negative terminal and this is the positive terminal. You see the big bar is positive, a small bar is negative, always remember. And when I am tracing the loop like A, B, F, G, A, so I will cross the negative terminal first and then the positive terminal. I will cross the negative terminal first and then the positive terminal. So when I cross negative terminal to positive terminal, I will take EMF as positive. So it will be taken as plus E. And it is taken as negative while tracing within the source from positive terminal to the negative terminal. So if I will be moving like this, then I am crossing positive terminal first and negative terminal second, then in this case this will be taken as negative. So summation E you see here now, summation E in the formula that you see. So we will have to put the sign of EMF, and when you cross the circuit from negative to positive, you take it as positive. When you cross the circuit from positive to negative, you take it as negative. And this depends on the direction of your movement. Okay, on the direction of your movement, how do you move inside the circuit, how do you trace the circuit, this will depend upon that. So I am again highlighting the whatever we have studied so far. So I will have to highlight that, and it says that it is taken as negative, it is taken as negative when you cross positive terminal to the negative terminal, positive to negative then negative, and negative to positive then positive. So you remember this. And now I am erasing this to show you an example. I will show you an example. Again I will do a numerical, but numerical you will have to check the separate video because the length of the video will become large and the size will become large. So now let us see the example. Okay, see the example. Consider the loop A, B, F, G, A. When I say A, B, F, G, A, it means A say B, A to B, B to F, F to G, G to A. So you see A to B, B to F, F to G, G to A. It means what? Clockwise direction. Clockwise direction you understand, na? In the direction of movement of clock. So clockwise direction A to B, B to F, F to G, G to A. So I am considering this loop. Now what does it say? If I am applying the voltage law here, I will have to make the summation of IR and I will have to make the summation of E. Now since I am moving in the clockwise direction, I am moving in the direction of current. So the first one is I1 R1, but it will have a negative sign since I am moving along the direction of current. Now you see here, along the direction of conventional current, the potential difference across the resistance is considered negative. So I am writing minus I1 R1. Now you see here, the value of current has changed. It was I1 here, at the junction it divided, and in this branch it is I3 and resistance is R5, but we are moving in the same direction, so it will be minus I3 R5. Okay, minus I3 R5. Again you see the current is I1, again I1, because of the conservation of charge here the current I3 and this current that was divided again combined here, and the same current will return. Whatever current has started from A, it will return back to A because of the conservation of charge. So I1 R1 negative sign, because to apply Kirchhoff's voltage law we have to trace the circuit, and we are tracing the circuit in the clockwise direction. So first we came across I1 R1, but in the direction of current, so minus I1 R1. Second we came across R5, but in the direction of current, so minus I3 R5. Then we came across R3, but in the direction of current, so minus I3 R3. And now here we are crossing negative terminal to positive terminal, negative terminal to positive terminal, so it will be positive, so plus E1. plus E1 equals to 0. Did you get it? Did you get it? We are crossing, if we are traveling like this, so we are crossing negative terminal to positive terminal. I have started from here A and I have to reach again here A. So in the direction of current minus I1 R1, in the direction of current minus I3 R5, in the direction of current minus I1 R3, and from negative terminal to positive terminal, so plus E1, and everything is covered. 3 resistances covered, 1 EMF covered. So in this loop everything is covered, so equals to 0. And then I will take the negatives on the right hand side and it will become E1 equals to I1 R1 plus I3 R3 plus R1 I1 R3 E1 equals to the value of EMF we have found out. So this is what the Kirchhoff's voltage law is all about. It is about the finding the value of unknown thing. So now we will again see one example, and for that you have to play that video separately because the size of the video will become large. So now you just play that video for the numerical of Kirchhoff's voltage law and then we will move ahead. Okay, so thank you.